Okay, welcome everyone. Today's webinar is LEED Gold and Solar Best Practices, a case study. My name is Mark Willey, I proud volunteer for Illinois Green Alliance. Glad everyone could join us today. I've been told to turn my camera on, so give me 1 second. Okay. So I wanted to let everyone know that this will be recorded today during the webinar, and the recording will be sent to you via follow-up email. You have been muted, but please type any questions that you have in the Q&A section. At the end of the discussion, we will have time for Q&A. We welcome Q&A, and we'll answer questions that come up along the way. Today's webinar was put on by the Programs Committee, an Illinois Green volunteer group that coordinates educational events covering a wide range of topics. The Illinois Green Alliance is a membership-driven nonprofit organization that advances green building and sustainable communities for all. To accomplish our mission, we strive to promote green buildings in a few key ways. Educational events, such as panels and building tours, by engaging communities and partnering with organizations all across Illinois, and by advocating for new policies and legislation. We are currently developing more web-based programs to engage our network. Next, join us for energy efficiency in the cannabis industry, Wednesday, September 30th at 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. Check out IGA, Illinois Green Alliance events calendar, and our Connect and Learn online page for all of the upcoming webinars. So today we have 3 speakers, and I would like to introduce to you Brad Carl. So we're glad that you could join us here today. And our first panelist is Brad Carl, the marketing director at Norix. He has been with the company for over a decade and helped build the Norix product development engine and expand the company's marketing communication capabilities. He has an MBA from the University of Oregon and previously held various marketing roles at Adidas North America. He enjoys skiing along with the outdoors whenever he's not pursuing the latest Norix innovation. Welcome, Brad. You have the floor.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Today I'm going to talk from the client side of this project and tell you a little bit about Norix and who we are, and then speak to the project itself and what it means to our strategy, vision, and culture. At Norix, we design innovative, robust furniture that meets the real-world need for humanizing, challenging environments. So this is a guiding principle statement for us. I think of it as kind of a 3-legged stool approach: innovative, robust, humanizing. Those 3 legs of that stool really guide what we do, whether certainly from a product development standpoint, but also what we do in my department from a marketing perspective, or any process improvement. It's kind of the measuring stick for us. Is it innovative? Is it robust? Does it humanize? This is our guiding principle and vision. The company itself is privately owned, and it's a family-run company founded in 1983, right up the road in Batavia, Illinois. Our primary markets include behavioral healthcare, corrections, and transitional housing. These are very specialized markets. We operate in others as well, but these are our core markets and really have unique and specific needs. One of the things we're known for is being pioneers in rotationally molded furniture, which has a pretty unique ability to deliver an innovative balance of both form and function. if you think back to that statement, innovative, robust, there's the form, there's the function, really performance-oriented material and process there. But it also is able to create these beautifully sculpted forms that delivers on that promise of humanizing environments. One innovation drive, our new headquarters, will dramatically increase our in-house production capabilities. It'll expand our warehouse and distribution space and modernize our office space. It really represents our drive to continue to innovate, and it's intentionally located at the intersection of Innovation Drive and Ingenuity Way. Norix is committed to innovate safe surroundings for our customers, a nurturing environment for our employees, and to create a positive impact on our community. Our new headquarters is the foundation for this and is based on a sustainably first design philosophy. It sits on 22 acres of native prairie land. A lot of effort went into selecting native plants and managing our water use responsibly. The building itself is a little over 200,000 square feet, sits on top of that land. We have over 3,700 solar panels up there on the roof, and those panels produce the equivalent of just about 100% of our energy needs to run the facility. That's office, distribution, manufacturing, the whole shebang. From a health standpoint, there's a soccer field at the facility. We just added a pickleball court, so that's fun. And of course, a fitness center, as well as some really nice extras in terms of walking paths through that native prairie land, coffee bars, and a learning center. Now, the decision to build LEED was a big one. It's in keeping with our mission to use innovation to humanize environments, including our own. And the building is innovative in its functional and aesthetic design. And we like to think of the building as reflective of our products, as well as our vision and our culture. That's why you'll continue to hear me say this morning that innovative word, because the building is innovative in itself, as well as what we try to do as a company. The building will make for a more supportive built environment that will inspire our staff to strive for the innovative breakthroughs that we seek. The goal was to create a work environment that pushed the envelope with the belief that a building that reflected our culture would help attract and retain the talent we need to make these visions a reality. So this innovation also empowers our environmental stewardship. Those solar panels and LEED certification is reflective of how we're innovating our products for the challenges of the 21st century. Now, that's something we put a lot of effort into over the course of the company, particularly the last several years, making our products recyclable, make furniture that's made from recycled materials, as well as Green Card certification, all industry breakthroughs in our corner of the market. Now, the decision to build LEED is not necessarily just a financial decision, a dollar and cents, from a does it pencil standpoint, but it's really a passion project and something we believe in. I think this quote from our CEO, Scott Carl, says it well. We want to be a leader in the industry, and this building will be part of our legacy, a symbol of what we're trying to accomplish. This building will embody who we are today and the kind of company we want to be in the future. Now, of course, to accomplish this, you need good partners. You need to work with good people. The first of which is Heitman Architects, who you'll hear from later on today. They designed the first LEED Platinum manufacturing facility, the Method Soap facility. So they immediately made the short list right from the beginning. They've designed more than 8 million square feet of industrial buildings and designed the first LEED certified industrial building in Illinois. Our other key partner here is Sunvest Solar. You've heard me talk about those solar panels and what they represent for us. That was a hard decision to go solar. We originally wavered. It's an expensive endeavor, but making that decision moved our goal from LEED Silver right up to LEED Gold and made that attainable. The ability to get their ability to get Norix maximum available solar incentive dollars was key to help that work for us. And they also could identify the most cost-effective level of LEED points for the purchase. Impressive experience with Madison Technical College, which is the largest rooftop solar array in the entire state of Wisconsin. So that was also an appealing incentive for partnering with SunVest. I'll conclude with another quote. This is just the beginning of our sustainability journey, and we're already having discussions about what we can accomplish over the next 10 years. We want to innovate our way out of the limitations of current technology and set bold goals. One innovation drive really opens up the world for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Brad. That was wonderful. Next up, we have Eric Heitman, who you mentioned. So for those of you who haven't met Eric before, Eric Heitman is a senior project manager with 19 years of experience in the design and execution of diverse building projects. Eric joined Heitman Architects in 2017 after 16 years with BNIM, an architectural firm that is recognized as a leader in sustainable design and one of the founders of the Green Building Movement. Since joining Heitman Architects, Eric has led a growing number of notable projects, including 5 new state-of-the-art greenhouse facilities for Gotham Greens and the North American headquarters for GP Transco in Joliet, Illinois. Take it away, Eric.
All right, thank you. So my name is Eric Heitman, and I'm a senior project manager at Heitman Architects, and thrilled to be with you this afternoon. Thank you. Of course, talking about a project we're very proud of and very excited to see racing towards completion this fall. And Brad did a great job of acknowledging our firm and, of course, SunVest Solar, but a project like this really can't be completed without a fantastic project team, which I'd like to acknowledge, give special shout out to the general contractor, Soltis Design Build, and his MEP Design Build contractors that we worked with, as well as DBHMS, who we worked with on energy and daylight modeling and commissioning for the facility, as well as Conservation Design Forum, the landscape architect, Hager Engineering, the civil, and Alta Engineering, our structural engineer on the project. So our firm was founded in 1993, and we are an architectural studio, award-winning architectural studio with expertise in planning and design of high-performance industrial build-to-suit projects, corporate office headquarters, and cost-effective commercial development. Brad mentioned some of our projects. Of course, the method project, which he mentioned, was one that was very important to our firm, led to the 2016 Coronet Global Sustainability Leadership Award. I'd like to talk about that, but I'll also talk about briefly the Trump Smart Factory, recently completed in Hoffman Estates, Illinois. Both those projects were very influential in the design and execution of the Norix facility. Of course, the Method Soapbox is a project that many of you might be familiar with, located in the Pullman district in south side of Chicago, Illinois. This was the first LEED Platinum manufacturing facility in the United States. And a distinctive feature of the building is the largest commercial greenhouse on a rooftop of industrial building. This building was kind of a watershed development for the Pullman district, really revitalizing that community and also creating a workspace that really encourages the health and vitality of its workforce, and also is embodiment of the method's sustainability commitments. The Trump Smart Factory, another project which received the 2019 National AIA Honor Award, Just briefly, it was a project that really embodies manufacturing 4.0 and is a fully automated manufacturing facility, just state of the art. And both those projects kind of captured very similar goals and aspirations of what we are accomplishing at Norix. Of course, Norix is a facility, as Brad said, that is going to really promote vitality of their workforce and shape their company and prepare their company for the 21st century. For the project, we had some very specific project goals, which I'd like to touch on today as I give kind of a broader overview of the building and its pathway to LEED Gold. So very important to this project is creating a transparent workplace that is open to employees and public, that really showcases the work that they do, the innovation that they do. Also, a space that is going to promote collaboration amongst all its employees. Of course, it's a project that has aspirations to respect the natural setting, and really we've tried to create a machine in a garden with this project. Also, the importance of daylight, creating a building that provides fresh air and daylight to all its employees in all programmatic aspects of the building, so all areas of the building. And of course, a very ambitious endeavor to maximize on-site renewable energy. And all this leads to our LEED pathway to gold. We are in the LEED process. We're currently tracking construction completion in November. And so, this is a look at the LEED design credits that we are pursuing or have achieved, and kind of right now in the construction phase of the LEED process. So our building will be located on 22 acres within the DuPage Business Center, which is a premier business park in West Chicago, and was originally developed by the DuPage Airport Authority. So this is very closely located to the airport. The location was ideal for this this project because it is adjacent to important transportation routes, public transportation, but it also is in a park that has a very natural setting with kind of opportunities for views to ponds and natural landscaping. As we think about the building, and where we locate our building, we're thinking about, of course, its view, its daylighting, and also the ability to expand, because this is a project that wants to accommodate the future growth of Norix. So, of course, some early thoughts about the planning, and of course where we ended with construction today. So as Brad had mentioned, the project is just over 200,000 square feet, with room to expand to another 125,000 square feet approximately. And the building is sited really to maximize daylight in the building, create the most efficient expansion plans, and also provide great views of the building from the major roadways, but also great views from inside the building to the natural amenities of the site. Just to quickly kind of show you how the building program is laid out. The building has a office facility. In this, north is to the right. So on the east elevation is the headquarters office function. There is also along the east elevation an engineering lab, manufacturing adjacent to that. So the office component looks on to manufacturing in warehouse and distribution west of manufacturing. Just want to speak about how really daylighting informed some of the important architectural moves of the building. So we have, looking at this east elevation of the building, tracking the solar angles and how we use that to define masses that really create opportunities for unique conference space within the building that give very kind of defined views of the landscape, but then also become very dramatic moments within the lobby space and in cafe space, the more public areas of the building. So here in this section, you can see how those spring and fall equinox sun angles really drove the design of those components of the building. And you begin to see also the integration of solar sunshades, creating a very open environment that maximizes the views east onto that park-like setting. Here is another view you can see of that. Again, you see the integration of the solar shades on the east elevation and on the south elevation of this building. On this would be the north elevation of the office block, conference room overlooking outdoor space, and then you know, speaking to the health and wellness of the employees, you can see a large window from the fitness center, which also overlooks the park beyond. To touch briefly on the building materials, we've used very natural building materials. Again, these are also informed partly by the Method soapbox and the Trump Smart Factory. So we made the decision to go with naturally finished concrete, precast concrete, and accent panels that are a stained concrete rather than painted. The building office is defined by Corten steel, sunshades and accent, as well as extensive glass. And I'm going to toggle between sort of rendered views that you'll see and then photographs during construction. This, of course, is the lobby space, a different vantage of the lobby space as you go through. And again, kind of speaking to the idea that trying to create very collaborative work environments that, that really are visible to all employees and look out and take advantage of those outdoor amenities. Again, so we're in the process of wrapping up construction, and you can see these spaces as they come to life. This here is a view of the plant. And so, you know, of course, you want to say that the daylighting in the plant is as important as the daylighting in the office. There is a light monitor in the middle of the manufacturing space, which provides a significant amount of daylight in the space. And then also beyond in this image, you see the Norix showroom on the second floor. So visitors can overlook the manufacturing space. On the north and south elevations of the manufacturing facility, we also have vertical ribbon windows, which allow more daylight into the space. This creates a very dramatic work environment for manufacturing. This is a view from the molding lab. Again, you see kind of the access to daylight. This space is also segregated from the rest of the building because of its mechanical needs. So this is a very innovative space. So as you can see, kind of as we look again at the exterior of the building, you know, we can see those natural materials expressed on the building. And of course, how the building will be very perceived at night. So I mentioned before that the idea of the building is a machine in the garden. Landscape design was a very important part of this project. really trying to create a restorative landscape design. So you see there's, as we kind of go through these slides, different components like prairie gardens that are created in different areas of the project, meadows that are constructed as part of the garden project, very important bioretention components of the project. And then as you move towards the main entrance, a perennial garden, native plants. And then in the expansion area, tall grass, prairie. And then as we move into the parking lot area, we're using bioswales that help manage stormwater. And there is a mowed turf grass area, which is where we accommodate some of the things like pickleball and the basketball courts. The site amenities also feature, of course, kind of usual suspects, the EV charging stations, and you can see in the image on the right, the bioswales, how they are integrated into the site to create a true kind of incorporated landscape. But of course, the star of today's show is solar, and we've done, I think, a wonderful job integrating solar. On the left, you see, of course, the rooftop solar, and on the right, the really unique solar trees that are part of this project. This is something that you see. So this is the image from the entrance drive, and I think that, as Joe talks more about solar and how it was executed in this project, it's I think really embodies Norix's commitment that it's such a strong statement as you enter the facility that really this has been a wonderful project to work on because of Norix's commitment and seeing it through to the end. And as I said, solar is something you see as you immediately enter the building, and it's a pretty special part of this project. So thank you.
Eric, that was wonderful. I'm going to watch it again later. Thank you. Next we will hear from Joe Gordon. Joe Gordon is a senior project developer for Sunvest, focused on commercial, industrial, and nonprofit clients in Illinois. Joe has been in the solar industry for 16 years in Illinois, all the way back to 2004. He has been honored to work with hundreds of residential clients and dozens of commercial clients on installations ranging from 50 kilowatts to 2 megawatts. Take it away, Joe.
Well, thank you, Mark, and good afternoon, everyone. I want to thank everyone at the IGA for this opportunity to speak today. And I want to give a special thank you to Brad and Scott Carl, the Carl family, and the team at Norix for, as Eric was saying, your vision and your commitment to sustainability, which has been a real inspiration to everybody in the green industry, the choices you've made for your facility, and you're the reason we're here today. I'm going to talk a bit about the solar aspects of the facility, but also about the policy and the incentives that make solar a tremendous return on investment in Illinois. It's skipping. First, a little bit about Sunvest. We are currently the 14th largest solar developer in the entire country, as ranked by Solar Power World magazine. And we have extensive experience with 50 megawatts installed in our company projects since 2009. We're headquartered in Wisconsin, just over the border, 7 megawatts of which are in Illinois. And we're probably going to install another 50 megawatts in the next 18 to 24 months, doubling the size of our company. We cover all markets, commercial, industrial, nonprofit, larger nonprofit community solar and utility scale. We're currently not in the residential space, but we do offer comprehensive services with a single point of accountability. So we can design, engineer, procure, but we do choose to work with installation partners. We heavily vet our partners and we project manage very closely with them. And this allows us to use union and non-union labor, whatever the project requires. For Norix, we use union installation partner. And we can also provide in-house after installation operations and maintenance support. Finally, the one thing I think that sets us apart from most other developers is that we do have a very robust resources internally to finance our own projects. And these are power purchase agreements that is a tremendous financial mechanism we'll touch on a little bit later. The three pictures below are more notable projects in Illinois. The one on the left is a 1 megawatt array for Fellows Brands in Itasca. They make office furniture and equipment. This middle picture is an array at a manufacturer in Hebron near the Wisconsin border. I just love how the solar covers almost every square foot of the roof. And the picture on the right, a 600 kilowatt array at a company that makes little red wagons that maybe you played with as a child or your children are playing with, and that's the Radio Flyer headquarters in Chicago. Now, the picture of solar nationally is this is a tremendous growth market. In 2019, almost 50% of all new electric capacity added to our national grid came from solar. And 1 out of every 20 jobs created in our country came from into the solar industry. Now, closer to home in Illinois, we're approaching 300 megawatts of solar installed, ranking us 30th nationally. But in the next 5 years, we're expected to grow by over 5 times that to 1,700 megawatts, propelling us to number 13 in the country. Why are we growing so fast? That's because of this, the Future Energy Jobs Act, or FEJA. This was an act that mandated $200 million a year that allows our utilities to provide 25% of all their energy through wind and solar by the year 2030. It's implemented by ComEd, Ameren, all the major utilities, plus the Illinois Power Agency and carbon brokers, who are the ones that actually work with Sunvest and our clients. It's essentially a carbon credit. It provides a set published price for solar, for SRECs, or solar renewable energy credits. One SREC is equal to 1,000 kilowatt hours of generated solar electricity. It's a 15-year program, but the SRECs are actually front-loaded. They're paid up front in the first 5 years. That's very advantageous to for-profit companies and organizations to finance solar. It also offers another grant on top of the SRECs called the Distributed Generation Rebate. Now, this is a grant of $250 for every kilowatt installed, and it's meant to bring the folks installing solar in partnership with the utility to roll out a smart grid and manage all the grid voltage that we're going to see coming online from all this massive amounts of solar in the coming years. Finally, I do want to mention that FEJA is currently out of funding for commercial, industrial, as well as community solar projects. But in November, we hope our legislature will consider a Path to 100, which is another bill that will provide additional funding and expand the RPS, or renewable portfolio standard, to 40% by 2030 and keep this train rolling here. I'm not sure of everybody's orientation to solar, so I just want to give a very brief high-level overview of how solar works, starting with the definition of a kilowatt. So for example, Norix has 1,370 kilowatts of solar on their rooftop. What does that mean? Well, a 1 kilowatt array is where we wire together 350 watt modules. And for every 1 hour of direct sunlight that strikes all 3 of those modules, or that 1 kilowatt array, we're going to get around 1,100 to 1,300 kilowatt hours per year out of it. And the way that it rolls out is the sunlight, of course, shines down in the array and generates the energy in DC. That energy then flows down to inverters, which invert the energy to AC and goes right to the facility's main electrical distribution panel. This is called interconnection, and it's where we essentially tie the array through the facility into the utilities grid. And we have to get the utilities approval on the interconnection design before we can even start building the project. Now, through the main panel, that energy from the solar array is going to be used immediately to satisfy the loads at the facility. But if there's any excess energy that's generated beyond what the facility needs, it'll go through the meter and into the grid, where the utility will provide kilowatt-hour credits for that, called net metering. Now, they're not going to provide cash, but these kilowatt-hour credits of excess energy will roll like cell phone minutes from month to month until either A, the facility uses up all that energy, or B, if it hits the annual anniversary billing date, the utility will zero that out and start all over again. Many of our folks ask me to talk about the actual equipment at the array. So they want to know how these elements that usually sit outside deal with the harsh weather that we find, as well as how do they affect the facility itself. So let's go from top down. We'll start with the modules. The solar panels, they don't look it, but they're covered with tempered glass that's very, very strong. It's rated for hail resistance of 1.25 inch hail up to 55 miles an hour. It has long workmanship warranties of 10 years. And it has a power output warranty that says that in 25 years, the cells in the panel will still have 83% of their energy generating life left in them. So this is a very long-term durable product. The panels themselves sit down on, most typically in a commercial setting, they'll sit on a ballasted array, which is weighed down by these brick pavers that you see spread out throughout the array field. There are no roof penetrations. The load on the roof is only 46 pounds per square foot. And even though that's well under, any kind of stress on the roof joists, we still, every one of our systems is structurally engineered and stamped to that specific structure. But the panels themselves lay down at about a 10-degree pitch, and that minimizes wind uplift. It also, can you see some of the shadows, the light gray shadows underneath all the rails? That's because the array is lifted up on feet, which allow for unimpeded drainage of rain and snowmelt to all the roof drains. And finally, these little black squares you see throughout, anywhere the array touches the roof, we add an additional slip sheet or piece of roofing. And that's per the roofing manufacturer, so that Norix will continue their roof warranty all the way through the completion, roughly 20-25 years, whatever that warranty may be. Now, if the solar panels are the heart of the system generating the energy, the inverters are the brains and the safety of the array. So at Norix, we went with SolarEdge inverters, which, if you notice, they also come with their own integrated optimizers. These are incredible devices. So on the picture on the upper right-hand side, you can see an optimizer for these two, wired to these two panels. The optimizers allow every pair of modules to perform independently of all the other pairs of modules on the roof. So if, let's say, a portion of the array is shaded from a roof obstruction or uneven snowmelt, only those modules will be affected while all the other modules will be performing beautifully. But even more importantly, these optimizers will shut the array down to the panel level. They'll actually shut the panels down to only 5 volts. This complies with National Electric Code's latest rapid shutdown requirement. Not that you would ever want to do this, but if you ever needed, in an emergency, to have a firefighter cut through one of these modules, even in broad daylight, to get to the roof, that could easily happen through these optimizers and through SolarEdge. It also has this integrated arc fault protection, so it is the safest technology available today. And finally, if you notice this picture down at the bottom of the screen of all those blue squares, that's actually a monitoring screenshot from another client, the Suter Company, a 100-year-old manufacturer, food processor out in Sycamore. This shows how their facilities team can literally, through the SolarEdge and the optimizers, glance at a graphical image of their array a couple of times a day, a few times a day, whatever they like. And anytime there's a module that might be malfunctioning, or something going on, it will, you can see a couple of modules darkened out on this, and the team can zoom in on those. So it makes a very simple way that they can monitor the health and performance of the array, and also, pull reports that are daily, weekly, monthly, any kind of range of dates for the life of the system. The final piece was something that Eric touched on, but these solar trees are from a company called Spotlight Solar in North Carolina. I'll tell you, this is something that was really gorgeous. These are very dramatic structures. They are functional. All three, they have 3 of them on site, and all 3 will generate about 13,000, 14,000 kilowatt hours a year. That's about as much as a large home will go through. But it really shows anybody in the community and any stakeholders that literally just drive up and see the landscaping, the commitments and the vision that Norix has to sustainability. Scott Carl, the CEO, his team showed him these, and he just absolutely had to have them. And I can see why. So with that behind us, I'd like to go through the sort of a cost-benefit return on investment scenario. So Norix has 1,370 kilowatts, but they're typically three times the size of a typical solar array. So I'm going to use a typical payback cost-benefit scenario for a 500 kilowatt array. It gives us a nice ballpark price of about $1 million to install this. And the cost to operate and maintain the array is roughly, we allocate and advise about $7 to $10 per kilowatt as a set aside. These systems are very, very low maintenance and they're solid state, but they do need active monitoring and they may need some things changed out down the road. So this can be a set aside for O&M, operations and maintenance. Now, on the revenue side of it, there's 2 pieces. First, what are the federal cash and tax incentives that you can use to pay for it? And secondly, what are the electricity savings from the solar production? Let's start with the electricity savings first. Sorry, my screen isn't responding quickly. So how did I look the folks at Norix in the eye and say a year and a half ago how a 1,300 kilowatt array would perform over the next 30 years? Well, for that, I turned to an industry standard web-based estimator that's created and run by the National Renewable Energy Labs out of Colorado. They use 50 years of historical weather data built into a model that we can plug in the variables, and it will churn out, including some loss factors to be conservative, it'll churn out what an array will do on a long-term 30-year basis. So on a 500 kilowatt array, it shows that at a 10-degree angle in northern Illinois, an array like this would churn out about 620,000 kilowatt hours on average per year. Some years you do better, some years worse, but on average, this is the number that we should hit. And in addition, if I value those kilowatt hours at a typical commercial rate of 5 cents per kilowatt hour, we're looking at savings of $31,000 per year. That doesn't sound like a lot of savings, but if you value that over 30 years, that's almost $1 million in dollars that would have been handed over to the utility company versus going to Norix's or any company's bottom line. So now I'm ready to put together the full ROI payback picture for you. First, we look at the cash incentives from that Future Energy Jobs Act. We'll start with those solar renewable energy credits. Remember where we said it's a production credit. So we take the PV watts estimate of 620,000 kilowatt hours per year estimated. We divide it by 1,000 because remember it was 1,000 kilowatt hours per SREC. And so we see this facility, typical facility, can generate 620 SRECs per year. The SRECs are currently valued in our state of Illinois program at about $110 each. So that's $68,000 in year one for the SRECs. Now these SRECs are subject to income tax. But over 5 years that they front load the payment instead of waiting 15 years, that's $341,000. We add on that the DG rebate of another $125,250 each, and now we've got close to $500,000 in cash alone. Then we put on all these federal tax incentives, the tax credit, dollar for dollar off taxes owed and depreciation. And what we come up with is that over 5 years, we've almost paid for the entire system through the incentives. So the typical payback is 3.5 to 5.5 years, but the biggest factor depends on those income tax considerations. At Norix, we have a payback of just 2.9 years because of the higher incentives, and they did 3 times the typical, so they got better economies of scale. So just to wrap up, there are 3 options to acquire solar. Norix went with the best, fastest payback, but they required the most upfront cash of direct purchase. You could do an operating lease and pay it off over 7 years and then do a buyout in the 8th year, which is a way to alleviate the cash flows for a company. And also the power purchase agreement, where someone like Sunvest would step in. We buy, own, and operate the array for maybe 15 to 25 years, but then the user of the solar energy just pays us for the energy from the array at a rate better than what they're paying the utility. So it offers the lowest returns overall, but there's no cost up front and very low risk. So as you've seen, solar provides a long-term annuity on energy that the facility or nonprofit will be buying anyway. It has all these tax and cash incentives. The government will pay for a majority of the cost, but it also provides these valuable LEED points that Norix was able to parlay into their LEED Gold status. So just an excellent ROI towards the sustainability goals. So as they say I want to thank you for your time, and as they say in election season, I'm Joe Gordon from Sunvest, and I approve this presentation. I'll turn it over back to you, Mark. Thank you.
Joe, that was wonderful. Thank you so much, and thank you for all the added data. It shows how achievable something this wondrous can be. It's a great case study. Thank you.
Thank you.
While Brad and Eric turn their videos back on, I'm going to dive right into the question to you, Joe. Question came over: are batteries required for the solar system?
Well, that's a great question. So Norix's system was a grid connect system, so it did not require batteries. Batteries are not required. All that energy, because we have net metering, they can get, that's the importance of net metering, they can get credit for the excess kilowatts that they generate. However, all of our systems that we install are battery capable, and batteries are coming down in price. So it's keep an eye out on those batteries, because that's the next wave of both residential and industrial solar is going to incorporate those batteries.
Thank you, Joe. Brad, the next question comes to you. Did going green make for a more expensive project?
I mean, probably at the end of the day, the project certainly grew. However, that was the beauty of partnering with the people we did. Like Joe just spoke to, there's maybe an initial price tag, but then there's lots of ways you can gain efficiency to bring down the net dollar. And again, for us, I think I referred to it as a passion project. Really, it's there's lots of reasons to go to go this route. For us, it was aligning with our vision, our strategy, our culture, things like that really drove it. And so that's the visionary piece. But then practically speaking, because there are incentives and there are smart ways of doing it, you really bring the cost down.
Yeah, the right team achieved that from you. And thanks for calling out that it is a passion project. That inspires people.
I hope so.
Indeed. Eric, you're up next. How has COVID affected the design and construction of your projects?
So, COVID has affected everyone and everything, and there's no escaping that. But I think we've been very fortunate on this project that we were in construction when sort of the world changed, and we've not been slowed down too much by it. Of course, we're in the late phases of design and construction. Kind of as it hit, we're making final selections of furniture, and talking about making decisions on finishes that might be changing. And so as we think about how we help our client like Norix prepare for occupying a building, we're looking at finishes that might change. We were looking at furniture systems, how we might make accommodations that help promote distancing, but also help promote folks, you know, they're workspaces that can be easily cleaned, and then, you know, as I think I could say that the contractors have been pretty wonderful about kind of maintaining safe business practices. So one thing that is interesting, you know, we are now exploring LEED pilot credits for COVID, and so there are a number of pilot credits. We help Norix create plans for returning to the workspace in a post-COVID world. So that's something that if you have a LEED project underway right now, that may be something you look into. So, you know, I think that it's something that we have to address, and, you know, Norix and Soltis Design Build have been great partners to do that.
You could see the intentionality with every decision, and the fact that you folks were able to pivot throughout this to create those advancements is great. Thank you. Joe, are you ready for another?
You bet.
Okay. Do companies who install solar need to go up and clean the panels from time to time or shovel off the Midwest snow?
I think I get to ask that question most of all. Where you live in a temperate climate, so rain and snow can actually keep the solar panels clean. They're pitched to a 10-degree angle, so that helps, that water and temperate climate helps shed the dirt off the panels. We don't recommend getting up there to clean them, not only because you know, someone could slip and get hurt, but also you know, because you could scratch the glass, and then that could actually work counterintuitively or counterproductively. They could start trapping more dirt. So they're very low maintenance products. There's no routine maintenance that needs to be done to the solar array. You know, you don't have to clean the panels or lubricate, or, you know, it's all wiring and very solid state devices. So, you know, stay down below, monitor the array, and it'll perform over time. It'll perform very, very well over the seasons.
Joe, there's a couple of live questions too that will probably go to you, but it could go to you, Eric or Brad. So whoever would like to jump in. They state, Jason asks, is the energy generated from the solar trees allocated to a specific end use of the project site? Or please elaborate as to how that happens.
Yeah, I could start because I know how the solar trees are wired. Because, you know, it's interesting. I was just out there the other day taking some pictures and checking up on the end of our installation, and one of the contractors saw that and Brad can talk about this. There's some car chargers, electric car chargers, right there by one of the solar trees. And the gentleman asked, "Is that solar tree powering these car chargers?" And although we looked at that, and I think Scott, Carl, and the Norix team really wanted that to happen, it's just very difficult and be very intermittent to see, you know. So what they did was we brought all that energy from the solar trees back into the facility, brought them in, and then we ran electrical lines back out there so that, you know, it would be a consistent charger. But you could say that those trees did power those stations, just indirectly.
Yeah, when you're being specific about how the process works, it's a longer answer. But having the trees located where they are, I think Eric spoke to this, does make a statement, and to our visitors and to our community, as well as our staff, because part of that is that it's just bigger than an electric vehicle charging station. But those two things paired together and we have an incentive program for our employees. We want to encourage our employers to invest their car buying dollars in an electric vehicle. We want to have the building serve our purposes, but also, like we said earlier, inspire. So the trees, while the process of getting the power to the car is a longer answer, hopefully they inspire other people to go that direction.
Indeed, indeed. Eric, the next one goes to you. With daylighting being such an important goal of the project, why were LEED daylighting credits not pursued?
Well, I mean, that's a good question. Access to daylight was such an important part of the vision for this project, and we certainly believe that daylight is an important component of kind of health and well-being and productivity for the occupants of the building. So it's just LEED sets a very high bar for the daylighting credit, which is not doesn't translate very well to the industrial building type. So while we met those requirements for the office, it's very hard to meet that for the manufacturing facility, and also balance, the desire to have extensive solar output on the roof. So there could have been things that we did differently on the roof that maybe introduced light monitors to a greater extent, but that might come at the kind of loss of solar. So it really is a kind of a balancing act. But what we've tried to do is kind of maintain those the strong visual connections between the office and the environment, and the manufacturing facility and the environment, and then the visual connection between the office and the manufacturing facility. So
I might add, Eric, you also did it with a very attractive design, not only functional for controlling the sun getting in and out during parts of the year. It was very attractive.
thank you.
Brad, we've got some more questions here. Why did you shoot as high as LEED Gold for the project?
Part of that is once we got into the process of the project, and once we learned more about solar and what it could do for the facility, what could it do for our vision of the project, and some of the incentives, and that it was within reach. Solar was a desirable thing that once we started talking to Joe, it was within reach. And then once you LEED silver is cool, but then once you see the gold and it feels like it's attainable, it's a passion project, and we went for it, and we felt it was the right thing to do.
Excellent. There's an anonymous question out there, Joe. It says, for the PV watts calculator, can you add a shading factor to account for projects that might be affected by other buildings or trees?
Yeah, that's a terrific question, and the answer is yes. So what PV watts? It's a fairly simple program that you can literally Google on it, and it comes right up, and you'll see National Renewable Energy Labs, and then you just put the city that you're in and the size of the array. But it also has something called a derate factor. So there's a section that says losses, and you can click on that, and there's various pieces. For example, soiling, like dirt that we just talked about on the array, about cleaning them off. Snow, you can add in, and you can pull back on the efficiencies of the solar conversions so that you can account for shade, but you would have to put in an estimate for what you think the shade would be. I will say there's one other program, if you're talking about shade specifically, it's called Helioscope, that we provided to Norix, and we provide to all our customers, and they actually have ways that you can do a mock-up on a roof, on a Google Earth image of the roof, and you can put obstructions, and it actually shows how you can cast shade on the roof and what the derate would be for how much solar you would lose over the year.
Awesome. Well, Brad and Eric and Joe, we've hit the hour mark rather quickly. I would say the presentation was incredible, and I think many people will want to see it again. So I want all of our guests to know that a copy will be available after via Illinois Green Alliance. So on behalf of the Alliance and all the volunteers, thank you, Brad. Thank you, Eric, and thank you, Joe. It was a great presentation today.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, and Ashley and Patty and everybody at the IGA and for having us.
Wonderful. Everyone have a blessed afternoon, and we'll see you at the next Illinois Green Alliance event. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.